So Steve is here just to introduce the team. So Steve is the Integrated Well Systems. So that's my company. So Wes, I have been a Douglas County resident for years, quietly living here. I owned the building up at Round Hill called Live Out Loud since 2005. I bought it and just sold it several years ago. So I have 5 New York Times bestsellers, and I was in The Secret, Dr. Phil. So I've just kind of quietly lived here and haven't been involved in politics at all until this came up. And then I met Joey because I knew he was on this campaign. And then I met Tara and Aaron, and this team of 3 has been amazing. So we met, and they've been very diligently helping open counties. And I said, we got to open the one I live in. So that's why we're here. They have a lot of data, and I've been supporting a lot of the counties. David Park, his sister actually worked for me for years. And I said, I got to talk to your brother. I know he does a lot in our county. So David, thanks for putting this together. And Damon and Steve are both on my team. And I think behind Joanne is probably Chris, who's my assistant. So, and Nancy works in Joey's office. So that's the whole army here on Zoom. Tara and Joey, I will let you guys take it away.
All right, well, thank you, Loral, for putting this together. And let me just give a little quick background. So I have been no fan of the governor since the initial rollout of COVID, only because my father was probably one of the first people in the state to catch it. He was a frontline doctor. He works for the state. He was on the front line in a gown, in a mask, in a face, everything, and he caught COVID. And my father is deployed 3 times as a trauma physician, combat medic. He's also an occupational doctor, trauma surgeon, family practitioner. So he does it all. He does OSHA, he does everything. And so he knows his stuff. And the first thing he ever said to me is, son, this is absolutely ridiculous. These masks don't do a damn thing. None of these shutdowns are necessary. This is completely, and so he was one of the guys that kind of got me thinking a little differently. And then I started my fight, and it started as simply as trying to find out, why would the governor ban something like the medication he banned? And when I really looked into it and found out that, as now you're all seeing, you cannot have a vaccine made available if there's any known treatments. So a known treatment, which fast forward 9 months later, right after Trump's out of office, the American Medical Association, the American Medical Journal flip-flops and says, oh, wait a minute, hydroxychloroquine can work and can prevent up to 84% of the hospitalizations. And where did everybody die? The hospital. So I was on this crusade to try and get things open. I was very fortunate to have run into Tara and to Aaron, who then started giving me the information and the processes. And then I started getting on the phone with very, very smart people in Placer County, the mayor of Atwater, California, who had done everything I'm asking you guys to do here now. These guys had done, and they had done it successfully. And they had basically essentially ripped their counties back from Newsom, opened them back up. You know, death rate dropped, infection rate dropped, businesses opened, people went back to normal life, and they're still, you know, in that same, you know, setting where things are fine. So that began my little mission, starting with White Pine County. I got a phone call actually from someone in Douglas County with the Douglas County Republican Women's Group, who's very active, as Wes would know. And they said, there's a district attorney in White Pine County that would love for you to file a lawsuit up there. So I did, only to find out that this gentleman, Mike Weedlum, was the clerk of Judge Du Bois up there for 8 years. So we filed the lawsuit up there. And the day that I filed the lawsuit, on Thursday, the following Monday, they called the county commission. They cited all the law on my lawsuit, did an economic resolution, and opened their county right before Thanksgiving. They have been open since then. There's been no mass death. There's been no increase in infection. There's been no anything except for normal life, and things have gone quite well. Now, I think one of the things that's so important to all of this, Wes, and I don't know if anybody was able to get you. Did anybody get in these templates? Has anybody seen these?
Oh, those are the data points that Joyce. I don't.
So this is going to be the whole ball game, and why this is important. And I'll show you this. But these are the December 23rd data points of what was going on in the state of Nevada when the governor obviously was leading his little mission. But let's just go back to May 25th. I don't know if anyone can help show him this.
Do you want to just read the numbers too, since we can't really see it, Joey? Want to read them out?
Yeah, so I just want to show you what this is first. So you can't really see this, but it just says 25th May data set, right? And then at the top here, it goes in order, and it says staff beds, hospital consensus, number of occupied beds, staffed ICU beds, occupied beds, percentage of ICU beds, total number of ventilators in use, percentage of ventilators in use, confirmed COVID cases, suspected or confirmed COVID cases. And that's where Dr. John DeMuro, the former chief medical officer for the state of Nevada, just hit the freaking, red line. Was like, what are they doing? What is a suspected case? With the governor using a number like this, you can throw the whole SKU off by 10%, which is what he was doing to keep it at that 10% threshold, which was his magic pie in the sky number to keep things shut down. Now, what's important to you guys?
Joey, sorry, one sec. Steve actually is controlling this, and he can show those slides if you want to.
Oh, perfect. Yes, I would love you to put up the May 25th data set.
Hi, Danny. This is Laurel. How are you?
Sorry, I'm late. I didn't know I was on Zoom and didn't see the link.
No, so we appreciate you being here. As you see, Wes is here. We are recording.
Danny Tarkanian. Mr. Tarkanian, Joey Gilbert, I've been a fan and supporter of yours for many years now as you fought the battles down in Vegas. I thought they were insane to you down there. I'm glad you kept fighting. It's nice to see you in the game, brother.
Well, thank you. I need every one of my supporters. That we were far and few between down south.
No, I know, man. It was like you were fighting the swamp down there, dude. Anyway, we'll get into that. Glad you're up here, and you'll love what I'm about to present because you can't argue the numbers, guys. You cannot argue science. You cannot argue numbers. It's all about the numbers, and you'll see how absolutely absurd it was for this governor to do what he did to this state based on these numbers. And I think when you get off this call, you're going to be sick to your stomach when you find out that in May, on May 25th, we went end of March, all of April. This is the end of May. And when they get the numbers up here, I'll let you guys know that confirmed COVID cases in Douglas County was not only 0, but I'll go down the numbers. Carson had 2, Churchill had 0, Clark obviously had 141 confirmed, 155 suspected. Douglas then had 1 suspected case. This is May 25th, 3 months of being shut down. Elko 0, Humboldt 0, Lander 0, Lincoln 0, Lyon 0, Mineral 0, Nye County 0, Washoe 24 suspected, 53 confirmed, and White Pine 0. So at the time in May 25th, 2020, there were 0 confirmed cases in any county besides, like I said, Churchill and Washoe and Clark. And to think that he forced these kids and these businesses to be closed, and then you'll see that we go to the next data set in June.
One sec. So Mark, we are going to have too many people. Danny joined us. So can I call you afterwards? Because we have Wes and Danny here. Is that correct? We can only have 2 in our meeting.
Yeah, can't have a
Oh, okay. Well, I
So
guess.
sorry, Mark.
Okay.
We had a little disconnect too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got missed messages that Danny couldn't join, so then I invited you, but I will call you after the meeting, and we are recording.
And we're recording it.
I can share this with you. So
Yeah, I have another meeting at 10 o'clock. So anyways, I'm gonna bow out then anyways. So,
I'll call
okay,
you
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
Mark.
So really quick, Joey, before you go on. So Danny, my name's Laurel. I've been a county resident for years. And have 5 New York Times. I've kind of lived privately here, but when this all happened, I'm with Joey and the team. We've got to open our county, and you 5 have, a lot. You have the power to do it. And so our goal in our conversation is to arm you with a lot of data. Maybe you have it, maybe you don't. But Joey, I'll let you continue. Do you want to email that to Steve? That's Steve at Ask IWS.
I thought he doesn't have it.
Because it's just to hear those numbers is disgusting.
Nancy, you have that, right? You have that up in front of you too. Can you send those data sets?
It's Steve at askiws.com. And that way Steve can have it, put it up. But the data is astonishing. I mean,
Let's
zero,
flip-
zero,
you
zero,
click
zero.
more-
Why are we closed?
Let's send May 25th, June 3rd, and December 23rd. You can even send May 31st, but just to give you guys an idea of what I just said, on May 25th, there were 0, and on June 3rd, there were 0. And then you'll get this up here in front of you in a second, but let's just go to December. Let's go to the height of the cold and flu season. And again, every year during cold and flu season, there's a spike in hospital visits. There's a spike in hospitalizations. And according to the lady from Renown, who's going to be testifying in my trial against the governor in White Pine County, she said, Joey, I might get fired for this, but the public needs to know we were never at capacity. We never put a single person that was COVID positive in the Renown parking garage. That was all show. Those were people being discharged. They were moved over there specifically for the photo op. It's disgusting. It should have never happened. And then she went on to say, and Joey, if we would have had an overflow for Renown, an overflow tent, we could have used it every year the last 10 years during cold and flu season. And then she pointed me, she said, go look at what happened in Southern California during the 2018, 2019 cold and flu season. So I quickly jumped on the internet, public data, you can find it anywhere. 6 of the largest hospitals and hospital chains in Southern California had overflow tents for the flu in the 2018-19 cold and flu season. They didn't even have them this year in 2020. So that should make everybody suspicious of what's going on. To give you an idea, though, of how preposterous this is, the 25th of December data set, this is a 2020 statewide data set put out by the Nevada Hospital Association, which was over-reporting cases in the north by 89%, right? And in December, during cold and flu season, confirmed COVID-19 cases and suspected COVID-19 cases statewide, okay? We had 52 in Carson.
Here we go.
Okay, there we go. Oh, that's May. We'll go back to May real quick.
It was really
So go
quick.
to May.
If the top of your Zoom, it says view options, if you put view fits a window.
Hey, Joey, could you email this to us when we're done so we can see this
Yeah.
and study it a little bit better?
Yeah, absolutely.
Our goal, Dan, is to arm you with the conversation that we need to be having to stand down Sisolak.
Well, it's not even a matter of stand down. It's to laugh in his face. He should have never had the ability to do this. If you look at this data set right now, you're going to see confirmed. You see all this stuff, staff beds, hospital consensus, number of beds, ICU beds, but just go down to where it says after percentage of ventilators in use, number of confirmed COVID cases. This isn't PCR BS. This is confirmed in a hospital with a blood test. These people have COVID. So you'll see that. You'll see 55 in the north. The entire state is shut down, decimating a multi-billion-dollar economy for 55 people in the north, 141 in the south, 196 total, okay? Carson City, 2, Churchill, 0, Clark, 141, Douglas, 0, Elko, 0, Humboldt, 0, Lander, 0, all the way 0 down to Washoe, 53. Then they throw in that little suspected number, which Dr. DeMuro came unglued about. Dr. John DeMuro resigned. He was the former chief medical officer of the state of Nevada. He still is the highest ranking medical officer with the state. No one replaced him, meaning that the current chief medical officer for the state of Nevada is not an MD. He's a very nice guy, Dr. Reslam, but he's not an MD. He's actually an infectious disease guy or epidemiologist from Hungary, okay? So they never replaced the CMO with a doctor. And to this day, the coronavirus task force consists of gaming executives, Nevada energy executives, consulting firm executives, one urologist, and Steve Menzies, who I know, very nice guy, but a construction guy, right? So if you look at this, then you go to the confirmed cases, which is where he gets a little spike from. Still, even with confirmed cases, you had 1 in Lyon, 1 in Douglas, 2 in Churchill. All right, you go to the number of suspected or confirmed cases in ICU. Again, this should make every one of you sick. The entire state is shut down. Our kids were sent home from school and our businesses were shuttered. It's all zeros, goose eggs, the entire way down. Let's go to June 3rd, if we could real quick, because they were coming out weekly to scare the heck out of everybody. And then we'll put up the December one's going to make you even sicker because that was after the small spike, October, November. December 20th, according to CNN was in the renowned parking structure December 12th. It was national news. I had people calling me from Florida and from New York and from other places saying, Joey, my God, what's going on out there? Like, are people dying? Like, I mean, they can't even get them in the hospital? And I just say, no, there's nothing's going on. So here, let's go back to
Joey,
June.
I want to share too. Like, I mean, I was in ICU in Renown, 4th floor trauma unit first week of January, and there was only a few patients. The other side, when they have to walk us around, after surgery, were full of ventilator, like all this equipment that had never been used.
I got to tell you guys a funny story after we get through this.
Visually, there was nothing there. It's like, and even the doctors and nurses, once you kind of get to know them after days of hanging out with them, all will confirm, will they testify? I don't know, but I saw it with my own eyes. I mean, none of these ventilators were used. None of this equipment was used. And it was
I got a great
bedrooms.
I got a great story for you after that. Let's just look at this real quick because I know everyone's time is important. June 3rd, just look at the confirmed cases, guys, real quick. In the north, so our state is shut down. Northern Nevada is shut down. Businesses are shut down for 44 cases in the north. But let's go by county. 2 in Carson, Douglas 0, Humboldt 1, zeros all the way to Washoe. They knew this. The governor knew this, and he shut them down. You guys were pleading with him to please allow us at the local level. We know what we're doing. Let us put our own protection measures in place. He would not even respond, still has not responded to these letters. I know this because I got forwarded the letters. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. We're going to send you all these, but let's just jump, if someone could, let's jump to the December one, because that's going to make you all very, if this doesn't give you the guts to go into your county commission meeting and say, what in the hell are we doing? And I'll remind you all that by May 1st, we knew this was a less than 1% death rate. The case mortality rate was less than 1%. We knew this by May 1st. And according to the CDC, we should have opened 100% in May and had just protocols in place for, businesses only. So can we expand this one so you can see it a little better? Like we did the last one. Okay, there we go. So guys, cold and flu season, height of the pandemic. This CNN was in there on December 11th. Let's look at these numbers. So in the north of total confirmed cases, got 350. Now jump over real quick and look at number of licensed beds, 1725. Number of staff beds, 1447. Hospital consensus, 1248. Okay, licensed beds occupied, 85%. That is normal and an absolute consistent number with this time of year in Northern Nevada. I have an administrator that'll be testifying that'll say, Joey, we are at that same percentage. As a matter of fact, we are red divert status in Northern Nevada. Every year during cold and flu season, during this time of year, there was no change. In fact, there were less people in the hospital because seniors were not doing any comprehensive or preventative care. People were not coming in for their checkups. People were not coming in for their cancer treatments. And we're going to see this pan out over the next couple of years as people went without medical care for a year, scared to death at these hospitals. But let's just jump to the confirmed COVID cases. 350 in the north, 42 rural, 1387. So we're all shut down. Right now, we're paused. We're at 25%. CNN was just in Northern Nevada doing a story. We've got 52 in Carson. Churchill's got 10. Douglas has 8. Elko has 6. Humboldt has 5. Lander has 0. Lincoln has 0. Lyon 0. Mineral 0. Nye 5. Pershing 5. White Pine 0. They are fully closed down. As a matter of fact, White Pine County had just opened a month before and they still had zero. Their infection rate didn't move. Their death rate didn't move. They were open for 4 weeks at this time. And what they did is they said, business owners, if you want to wear masks, wear masks. If you want to ask people to wear masks, wear masks. They might not come to your establishment, which they found out real quick people didn't, or you can't because you still got the people that watch CNN, they're brainwashed. Those are the people driving in their car alone with a mask on. You're never going to help those folks. Just leave them alone. Let them do their thing. But if you look at the even consensus, relative demand confirmed and suspected COVID patients, 34%. All right. You're looking at this relative demand confirmed and suspected cases in ICU to licensed ICU beds, 44%. Relative demand prevent ventilators in use confirmed, 25%. So here's a funny story now. Dr. DeMuro, the CMO, the former CMO for the state, he went over to the renowned parking garage where all the equipment was set up and it's all plugged in. And then it's all set up, it's not plugged in. And he turns around and he says to the staff, where are you running the oxygen and the power from? And they all looked at him like he had 3 heads. They had everything set up. They didn't have the ability to power the machines and run the oxygen through them. But it was set up so it looked like it was there, but it was not functioning. Everything was covered. They couldn't even run the ventilators if they wanted to. They weren't set up for it. It was set up for TV, but it wasn't set up. And this is John DeMuro. Again, he's a, where did John go to? Georgetown University grad, Ivy League, teaches at Yale, and put his entire reputation on the line for my panel I had at the Fandango Casino, all available on my Instagram page. And Loral's people are helping me cut it up. It's now reduced to 1 hour. I have Dr. DeMuro, Dr. Devlin, Dr. Damon Zavala, who works, he has hospital privileges in both Southern Nevada and Northern Nevada. He goes on the record to say, Joey, they were empty. Their hospitals were not full. And there was a treatment. Hydroxychloroquine has been available in the state since July 23rd because my lawsuit forced the governor to not extend his emergency directive past the 23rd. It's been available in the state since the 23rd of July. I have not been able to get the pharmacy board to issue guidance to doctors. I've sent them numerous letters. It is your duty to let practitioners know this is available. It is your duty to let the pharmacies know they are allowed to prescribe this. David Huis, the executive secretary, will not issue such guidance. So then that resulted in me speaking to doctors in every one of these counties saying, no, bud, you're absolutely allowed to prescribe it. Well, the pharmacy won't fill it. What's the pharmacy's number? Calling up CVS. CVS, hey, Joey Gilbert, listen, bud, you're about to get a lawsuit. I'm going to sue you tomorrow. Okay, they filled the prescription every single time after threatening the lawsuit. They would fill the prescription. So this has been a game. But just so you understand what you're dealing with here, this is absolute height of the pandemic, according to CNN. The hospitals were not at capacity. The ventilators were not at capacity. The beds were not at capacity. But here's the one thing you have to understand. This is what they were able to do. So now, what they were able to do was staffing capacity. A lot of these nurses and medical workers were sent home to quarantine for 14 days. Why? Well, if you watch my video on my IGTV, you'll see that I brought in the 4 leading PCR expert, Dr. James Lyons Wilder, okay? And he'll go on to talk about why these PCR tests were such garbage. But they were testing everybody. 60% of the population will get COVID and not even know it. They won't even have a symptom. Then there's another 20% to 30% that will have a small flu-like, fatigue-like symptoms. Then you'll have that 10% that has a full-blown flu sickness. And then you'll have another anywhere from 7% or more that can get really sick. They can, especially if they have other comorbidities. All right. But a large percentage of these people already had it. Healthcare workers that have been working on the front lines since the preceding March had this or had the antibodies. But if they were PCR tested, They were showed positive. They were sent home to quarantine for 14 days. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we had our staff shortage because of PCR testing, which the governor knows all about. On my IGTV video, you'll hear Dr. John DeMuro say, and I quote, he said that at the task force meeting where he's fighting with this Jim Murin, how in the hell the former CEO of Mandalay Bay is the task force, the chief of the coronavirus task force, is beyond comprehension to me. I don't understand how that was even possible. How Steve Menzies, good guy, worked with him in business, he bought our dispensaries. How the hell are these guys making the decisions to open or shut businesses? So as the hospital director told me, the administrator, she called me and said, Joey, the majority of our nurses are pissed off as hell because they're being sent home. They have zero symptoms. They're symptom free. Many of them feel like they had this months ago. And here's the other kicker. Have you ever seen in your lives the state of Nevada drive flu shots so crazy? I've been living here my whole life. I have never seen such a concerted effort to get people to get the flu shot in my life. Sisolak was even sending buses to nursing homes and picking these people up and getting them their flu shots. Do you know what's in the flu shot? The flu shot can test you positive for the coronavirus. 36%. You have a 36% more likely chance of catching coronavirus if you got inoculated with the flu shot.
Yep.
Okay. So there was always a plan here. I've been here my whole life. I've never seen government run message after government run message of get your flu shot. It was everywhere. I go to CVS to pick up my prescription. Every time I went in there, can we get you a flu shot? Get your flu. I was just like, whoa, easy, buddy, with this flu shot thing. First of all, no way. I've done some reading. You're not sticking that thing in my arm. But if you guys all want to know on a quick little segue why Italy got decimated so badly, their 2018-19 flu shot had H1N1 in it and dog cell lining and everything else. So Italy got wiped out because of their flu shots that they got right as COVID was being released, and it was released. All the data is now showing this. So what's happened here, everybody, has been the biggest con job that's ever been pulled on this state. And the longer we sit here and allow this, right now as we speak, the coronavirus, and again, go on my Instagram page, watch Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, who's a peak performance coach, personal friend of mine. I've attended every one of his shops, Master University, Speakers Boot Camp, Leadership Academy. I'm a certified trainer under Tony Robbins. I've done it all. Tony Robbins speaks about the death total in the United States has never changed one iota from 20,000 people since 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Where are the 500,000 plus coronavirus deaths?
Hey,
It
Joe,
did not
can I
happen.
interject for a second?
Go ahead.
And I don't mean to change the direction of this meeting. If so, if you can, I understand it, but I wasn't aware that this meeting was taking place. I didn't get the email until just a few minutes ago when Mr. Parks told me he was there. I have another meeting that starts at 10. I can come 15, 20 minutes late. But what really, and I don't know if you want to do this or not, I know you got a really good presentation going.
No, we're almost done.
Great info. I would like to know how you want us to fight the governor and his directives. That's the most important thing to me.
So if Tara, do you want to, or do you?
Let's let Tara jump in. Tara's been working with Lander County. Let me just quick little segue here is I've got a plan. I've used this plan in the 6 counties that have opened up. It's to declare an end to the public health emergency. Why, Mr. Tarkanian? Because there is no public health emergency. The death rate, the case mortality rate nationwide now.
Joe, we all agree with that. We agree with that.
Or less than the flu. So Tara?
Why don't you jump in and just be really clear with these gentlemen, what we're asking them to do? Because it's actually not as complicated as I think that the governor's making it look like. It's actually going to be worse after May 1. And the work that you guys are going to have to do and this county's going to have to do is going to be beyond work we don't have to do. You have to vote on a few things. So Tara, do you want to jump in and share that?
Sure. Hi, all. Hi, commissioners. As Joey and Laurel lined out, you have all the data and experts behind you to back any action you take. And the action that we see, the only one that can really be taken right now to counter Directive 41, and this was always the solution anyway, whether you're talking a year ago or now, is to end the public health emergency at the county level. That, as the documents you've seen from Lander County this last month to Placer County from September 8th, there's the model for it already at the county level in your equivalents in Nevada and California. So it really is as simple as at your very next available meeting to follow the guidance of what Lander and Placer County did and declare based on local data, based on all the stuff that Joey's presented and you have available to you, as well as any experts you may feel you want to have present at a hearing, and then simply form the resolution stating the end of the public health emergency. And that is going to be the end run around the governor's Directive 41, which is to put further restrictions on you and reduce your authority by.
Why do you think that's going to stop the governor's directive? The enforcement done by the county, we have control over, and or at least some influence over, and our sheriff's not enforcing a lot of the mandates, but they still have OSHA. They still have the Attorney General's office. Hell, OSHA has come in. You'll like this, Joey. I have a basketball facility. They've closed us down from playing any kind of competitive games for almost over a year now. And OSHA's came in twice and has fined me $3,750 because we don't have games, but because our players get within 6 feet of each other when they work out. Can you believe that? And I think it's unfair. I'm taking them to court. But listen,
Let me fight that for you.
Isn't the county.
But
This isn't the county that's doing it. This isn't the city that's doing it. This is the state. So as a county commissioner, we can say all we want. They still got OSHA going to come in and do what they're going to do. And they got the DA, the AG's office is going to prosecute it.
I'll give you my simple answer. Well, one, it's good you got Joey in the arena with you on OSHA, but it's really, it's part of a key unwinding of this entire complex situation. And this is the part that is in your hands. You have the authority to do this, and it fundamentally changes the ground from which every action is taken. And so that's why it also says, well, we don't have to participate in Directive 41 because we have already declared we don't have a local emergency, and we will do our degree of educating and improving people's health and wellness at our local level to actually, bring about an appropriate course correct. So really that's the answer to it. There is no one magic bullet.
That's not an answer. That's saying that we're just going to say it and then we're going to ignore the governor. And first of all, the governor has certain purse strings over the county. But let's put that to a side. And Wes, I'm new at this stuff. And you, I think it was you or somebody I'd met with. No, I think it was Penzel. Explain to me the two differences between the county rules. One, whether the county has control, or whether the state has more control over the county. And I don't know the terminology, but we're the one where the state has more control over us.
Joey can give you the exact term, but this is a state where the counties can only do what the state allows us to do.
So I mean, with that, I don't understand. Listen, I'll do whatever we can, but I'm not going to just grandstand and make a stand where we have no, and then it blows up in our face. We don't get any results from it. So I want to figure out how we can be successful at this instead of just making a stand. See, to me, it seems like somebody's got to sue the governor's directives and get in front of like in California, they're not allowed, they didn't allow high school youth sports. And they sued them, and the state Supreme Court ruled in their favor. Now they all of a sudden they're opening up these high school sports. I think that we got to get a decision from the judge to stop the directive. But if you guys can show me how this will be effective, I'm all for it. I'll be the biggest fighter for it.
So Tara, I mean, can't we start with this resolution from Lander County? And we basically put in Douglas, and I mean, the work's been done at a lot of levels to stop the public health emergency. So maybe you start with that, Tara, and we agree that, Danny, I think there's going to be other like OSHA and the DA, but stopping the public health emergency, maybe explain that a little further on what that's done to the other.
Let me say this, the DA is going to stay that he doesn't, every one of them, even DA Bryce Shields in Pershing County said the same thing, that, he didn't recommend it. But then after they passed it, he went and congratulated the lady for doing it, said great presentation. It backs everybody off. I am suing the governor in multiple places. I am who got sports back in Northern Nevada. I am who got lacrosse back in Northern Nevada. I'm the only one suing this jackass, and I'm not afraid of him. And he's terrified right now to present. I've asked for data. I've had FOIAs out for him since November. They haven't answered because they don't want to answer them. They can't give up that data. If they give up that data, it's over. I'm dunking on this guy like he cannot imagine. I have embarrassed his counsel at the last oral arguments. They are terrified of me up in White Pine County. And White Pine County will invalidate it statewide. It's going to be for the entire state. We're just at our joint case conferences. We've got discovery ongoing. Everything is happening, but we've now got 7 counties open. And so what you're doing is by declaring, again, the governor can say what he says, but under 414, states are allowed, the counties are allowed to exercise discretion on their local. If there is an emergency that's now superseding his emergency, which there is, there's an economic and health emergency superseding his original emergency declarations, if everybody remembers, was 15 days to slow the spread to prevent the overwhelming of the healthcare system. Throw everything else and go back. It was to prevent the overwhelming of the healthcare system. I've now showed you the data that the healthcare system is not overwhelmed. In fact, it's empty. There is no public health emergency. Therefore, he cannot sit, and that's why he hasn't done anything. And AG Ford calls my cell phone, bro, okay? This is a guy that texts me. And we laugh at each other because he says, God damn, dog, you're really going. And I said, bring it on, bro. We're not staying locked down. Stop being a puppet. And I say these words to him. We laugh. We have a great relationship. But if they were going to act, they would act. If the AG's office was going to do something, they would have done it. They would have done it back in November. It is about to be April. And we will be like this into the fall. And your kids will be distance learning again during cold and flu season if we don't act now. And I think, like Tara said, and like Laurel said, all the information is there. I can make Dr. John DeMuro available to you. I can make anybody available to you. But I would suggest you bring this in and you vote on it, because it's not just grandstanding. It's saying there's no longer a health emergency. Governor, show us the data. Tell us we're wrong. We would love to see your data. But here's something you need to know, Commissioner Tarkanian. The Nevada Hospital Association sent an email 3 weeks ago. I'll make sure you see it, saying this will be our last data set. What you see right here now, they're not doing it anymore. Why? Because there's no data to provide. So the public health emergency is over. Now it's about control, and government do not ever yield back control once they get it. So county by county, we've done this. AG hasn't sued White Pine. AG hasn't sued Elko. AG hasn't sued Ely. They haven't sued any of these counties.
But have they stopped the governor's enforcement arm
Yes.
of those?
Yes.
So
Yes.
nobody's gone into Nye County.
No. Well, Nye County's a little different. They kind of took a little chicken shit approach. They didn't pass the same regulation because the DA down there got scared. Any county that passed the resolution I'm asking you guys to do, not to reinvent the wheel, to just put it through there in the very exact language, says the DA won't prosecute and that they're not allowed to come to the county unless they quarantine for 14 days. OSHA just said the hell with it. And I am just on Jacob LaFrance.
But
I am
Joe,
dunking on OSHA.
you could tell the AG they can't come in unless they quarantine, and they say, no, we're not.
I understand that. So OSHA is going to come in and they're going to write you a ticket, and then we're going to take them to the review board and beat the hell out of them, and they're going to lose. They have no medical standing. They don't even have authority under law. Show me where the people voted on any of this stuff. That's my number one thing when I walk in there I say, point me the directive and show me where it was voted
Joey,
on.
I agree. I don't think they have the legal grounds to stand on it. The governor has the authority to come in and impose certain regulations when there's a compelling state interest to the public welfare, and it has to be specifically tailored to the smallest point possible for the shortest period of time possible. And they've gone over all that. I agree. But to me, that's a judge making this order. You're asking a count. I mean, listen, I'll probably go along with what you're saying and do it. What I don't want to do is I don't want people saying, at least for me or the Douglas County, that we're just throwing things out there just to create some publicity, and there's no teeth to it.
No,
I would do
This is
something
not,
that's
this is not a
involved with something.
publicity stunt,
No,
brother.
and
This is not a publicity
I
stunt.
just don't see, I
I'll
don't
be
see
there
how a
to-
resolution by the county can stop OSHA from enforcing what the governor has unless a court order says they can't.
Joey, I think
The
part of
piece of unwinding. Oh, and I would just add that it really is it is the absolute appropriate action, whether the governor was forcing your hand with Directive 41 or not. It is the current state in Douglas County to end that there is no need for the
I
extraordinary power of
agree.
the county.
You
So
you got the
that-
biggest believer in
that
it.
is in your
So the
hand,
biggest-
and it's-
I mean, what we're asking is that the commissioners, vote this resolution, which is have to change the name from Lander to Douglas, vote it in. And yeah, there'll probably be OSHA repercussions, but we also met the OSHA, like, didn't she quit from OSHA and say, like, it's not their legal responsibility. And that's where the construction industry, like, their job is to be on industry sites and protect.
And protecting employees. I
Exactly,
mean,
not
they're
doing
they're
this
fining
stuff
me for
for
my participants, my customers. Listen, I
Commissioner
understand all that.
Tarkanian,
I'm
you
just
should
trying
see
to
what
feel.
I'm doing to OSHA. I am wiping OSHA's face across the floor. I am destroying them. They have no stand. They're going to threaten you and they might throw you a ticket, but they're going to lose because it actually goes to a review board of 5 lay people that have not been appointed by the governor. and
Joey,
they're
I'm there.
sending
I'm
these out
going in front of
for
them
September.
already. Okay, I'm gonna have to leave in a minute, but basically, you guys' suggestion for us is approve this type of resolution. First, somebody email it to me so I can read it. I've got a legal background. I want to see exactly how it says or what legal grounds. I don't want to do something that's going to make us look stupid, like we're just making a big deal to create some publicity, but we have no control over what we're saying that we're going to do. If we could go after statements and say to the governor or whatever, we're going to say that this is ridiculous, we don't need it, the scientific data doesn't back it up and all this stuff, I'm all for it. But if we're going to say, hey, listen, we're going to make OSHA quarantine 14 days before they come in, and that can't happen. What good does it do but make us look like we don't know what we're doing?
You're gonna say it all, actually. You're gonna say the data is not there. That's why we're pressing the resolution. OSHA is gonna obviously decide to do what they're gonna do, but I have noticed now in all the counties that have done this, they're not getting tickets. The OSHA's not coming in there. There's something going on. Either OSHA knows that they don't have the right to do it, or they don't want to bother with it. But in the counties where we've had this declared, and it's 6 of them now, OSHA has left them alone. And so again, you're going to work with your county health officer, and they're still going to stick to certain stuff, but we're just going to get rid of the majority of it. And I think you'll see when you read everything, and I'll answer questions. I'll get to Merle on the phone with you. I think you'll feel much better.
Yeah, thank you.
Joey?
I'm sorry to have to leave early again. I already had this appointment, but if you send me the stuff, I'll go through it very carefully and I'll get right back to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Someone shared my cell number with them, with Mr. Tarkanian.
I will do that. I'll get everyone connected.
Okay, Joey, I think that any reluctance that Danny and I may have is simply because we do not want to send a message to our local businesses. We are open, forget what the governor says, and then they have come into small businesses and fined them $1,000 at a whack. And we want to try to open up our county as fast as we can, but at the same time protect our businesses who rely on us to protect them. So
Well,
that's the only reluctance we have,
And Wes,
because this has already happened.
yeah, and Wes, just so you know, I mean, I took a different approach until I met with David, in which I have, I don't know how many dozens of business owners who will stand in this meeting and support it. And if there's tickets, there's tickets. We have Joey who will support it. But this resolution stands the governor down, and it's already happened. What I don't want to be is it living in the county that we won't vote the resolution, and we're like, Washoe and Clark and looking like those people. Like, let's defend who we are as a county, and Joey will fight I don't agree with OSHA. I don't think the OSHA people are going to come. They don't want to be here. We've heard from them. It's not their job. It's nothing they're supposed to be doing. And the sheriffs around here, we all know they're not the police.
Coverly's standing down. So what I did, Wes, you'll get a kick out of this, is I started meeting with rural county sheriffs. My first job was, okay, how can I make sure we don't have this? So I started meeting with them. Then I brought on this Krista Hartman, 12 years as an OSHA inspector. She met with the OSHA people who said, we don't want to do this. We hate this. We go to these businesses. We can't believe that they're making us do this. We don't agree with it. And so we went that route. And then what happened is business owners, anybody that runs a business, I got a few different businesses. You cannot survive on 35% margins. You can't survive on 25. Now, if we were 6 months in, I'd say, okay, be cautious. We are a year in. These people are hanging on by their nails. They cannot do this anymore. They need to open up 100%. And if they get $1,000 fine, but they're open 100%, Joey Gilbert's going to get that knocked down to nothing or a couple $100, and they're going to be just fine. I've got a stack of OSHA tickets like this, and it's slowly what's happening. I'm getting phone calls. Oh, we're dropping it. We're dropping it. Candlevino, we're dropping it. Okay, the hardware store in Carlin, Nevada, Ace Hardware, they're dropping it. It's just, you got to fight back, because what they're coming in and citing these people under is bullshit. Pardon my French, but they're coming in to scare them. And I'm not saying to just say, oh, it's a freedom fest. You still want to say, listen, we're gonna follow some protocols. It should be business determinative. It should be up to the business owners, up to the county, and they should allow people to go back to normal life. If some business wants to enforce masks, because there's going to be some people that, I'm sorry, there's no coming back. They can do what they want. They're going to learn real quick that everybody's going down the street. And so that's all you're doing, is you're saying, this is America, do what you feel is best, because, guys, there's no public health emergency. The data does not show that we need to do this unless we're going to start wearing masks during the cold and flu season every year, or if we've ever done that before. There's absolutely no reason to have any social distancing, kids not in full school, businesses not open 100%. That's it. If you're sick, stay home. That's it. That's all that needs to happen. And I think what this does, if anything, for the elected leaders that are doing this, it's game over on this next election for you and standing up. The ones that don't are going to have a really hard time, because I'm just telling you, as someone that's talking to your constituents, they've absolutely had it, beyond a doubt had it. So it's not grandstanding. It's saying, look, we're making a call. We looked at the data, we talked to the doctors, and we're saying open. And if the governor wants to keep shoving this down our throat, he best show us the data. Wes, he won't give you the data. I'm giving it to you because I was able to get it. So when Dr. DeMuro resigned off the task force in July, he got in a sparring match with Hillary Sheedy. He said, Hillary, you can't restrict the public. You can't force the public into masks. You can't close people's businesses. You can't distance learning to children. What you can do is provide them with the data so they can make their own decision. He said, Joey, she wouldn't agree. It was all political. It was purely political. She wouldn't listen. So he resigned from the task force. But when he resigned, they left his email in. So he kept getting the data set since July. That's how I got them all. And then he went and sent them to me. And so I have had all these data sets. That's why I've been coming unglued since last May, going, guys, what are you talking about? There's no public health emergency. So now you guys have the cover, you have the data, you have the information, and you have the community support. There's going to be your handful, 10% of those CNN watchers that, are going to wear double masks till next year. You're never going to change those people. But in your county, 85% or more have had it. They're waiting for you. They're begging you. They come to me and say, what's with our commission? I say, I'm trying to get in front of them.
Well,
I'm trying to work,
you
guys.
want me to have a meeting at the Genoa Country Club. I mean, the businesses at the lake, I own that building at Round Hill. I know every business owner up there. We've had businesses have to close in that Round Hill area. That whole upper, Tahoe down here. I mean, I can put 30, 40, 50 people at a meeting that are done. We're all sick of it. So,
But let me say this though. I just want to say this though. I do caution those that have state privilege licenses or special use licenses like the casinos. I've sat down with Mike Pegram. Mike Pegram is my homie, and he is backing me and he is pushing me. But he's like, Joey, I got the gaming commission, and so there's casinos. I'm going to advise them not to do anything crazy yet. I'm going to advise them not to, to where, those are, you got your different deals. Brothels, casinos, strip clubs, sorry. But those people.
Hairdressers and barbers.
Yeah. And
my hairdresser has already been threatened with license
Well, after you push this through and the OSHA comes back in there and I go dunk on them, they're going to leave them alone, just like they have in all the other counties. But they've got to get the pushback. They've got to, because
What I would recommend, Joey, is
Sure.
talk to our chair. Our chair is, well, you know our chair. And have him, he's the one that determines what goes on our agenda. So I would
Yeah.
suggest talking to him, Mr. Angles, and ask him, actually, he needs the information you just given us, and then ask him to put this on the agenda. I would be more than happy to vote for it. But it's got to get agendized before I can vote for it.
And Wes, that's been our
As
biggest
you
problem.
know, we cannot do anything that's not properly agendized.
No, I know. That's what the governor's done to Bob Lucy. He's the Republican chair in Washoe County. He has Rick Revilio, the Caranos, the De Lorettos, the Deandas, Frank Laporte Lepery. He's got everybody up his ass, and he won't move it because the governor's threatening him and he has political ambitions. He's being a coward. We can't get it on the agenda there knowing it would pass in a second, but it is what it is. So I will absolutely talk with him. I've got, like I said, I would encourage you all to watch. I'll make sure that, Laurel, we get this shortened 50-minute video clip out to him that your guy's finishing right now for us. Once we get that done, you'll want to watch these doctors testify. And after you hear them, you give this to your chair. It would be going against every bit of practical, common sense to continue this. And again, the governor's going to threaten what he's going to threaten. He's going to end up with his ass in court. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if your 2 district court judges, Tom Gregory is by the book guy, and by the law, he'd have a real tough time. And I think he's even got a tougher time with the other judge, if I end up in front of him. I really do think that your 2 Douglas County judges, your district court judges, I don't think I'll have to go there because my White Pine County case is proceeding beautifully. But I've also got Mike Shirley, who's the district court in Pershing County, who's begging me to bring a lawsuit there. So the next course of business to give you guys the cover you need is to declare this emergency and then get me a couple business owners to file a lawsuit in Douglas County. And that's going to, I'm just telling you, the governor's got 4 or 5 lawsuits right now he's terrified of. And he opened the school sports because of my lawsuit. He opened the lacrosse team's competition because of the lawsuit. He doesn't have anything to stand on, but as long as no one pushes back on him, he's going to keep doing it.
Right. And
I would just-
again, Joey, I mean, I'll lead plaintiff with for a variety of other folks here. So we're all here, Wes, and appreciate your support. So we will work. I guess, I don't know exactly all the rules. So I know we have to get it on the agenda. Can I send this recording also with the doctor's recording to Mr. Ingalls, as well as the other 2 that were not in attendance, say today?
That would be my suggestion.
That would be, I just send this so they can hear. I say
Yes,
leave with this and then
because
follow with the documents.
We have to be very careful that we do not get a quorum, and they have what's called a walking quorum. So if 2 of us agree on something and then one of us goes to another commissioner and talks to him about it, now we have a problem. So Joey, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So
Yep.
I would suggest that you contact the other 3.
Can I send them this
commissioners.
recording and not violate any quorum rules?
Right, because you're doing it, not me.
Okay, got it?
And request that Mr. Engels agendize this. I would assume that it would not happen until the end of April.
It's got to happen by May 1.
It
Yeah,
does.
we gotta get
If
this
you
done
read
right.
the
In May
directive,
1, when,
yes.
we've already discussed the fact that as of May 1, as far as we're concerned, we're going to open the county. But
Have you read Directive 014, Wes? Because if you do, you'll see that you guys have to submit a plan prior to May 1 to the governor. So the
yes,
alternative to filing this resolution is adhering to that directive.
yeah, trust me, we've been looking at this from upside down and sideways, trying to, we want to put an end to this as much as you guys do. So
But Tara, will you
Hey,
explain?
Wes,
Tara, will you
can I just
explain
do?
that, how
Sorry.
critical that this voting down, like just the resolution to stop the public health emergency is the response. You don't have to do the whole plan if you just vote down the public health
Yeah,
emergency.
and Wes, the governor, first of all, the governor's an idiot, but he's got some smart people helping him with strategy, and this is all a plan. The reason he did this, kind of quote unquote hand off to the county, but put all these little layers in, like no one's going to get these school superintendents. No one's going to get these. There's plants. There's plants he's like laced in there that have been the biggest pain in the ass. But you want to know what have been my biggest supporters have been these sheriffs. And Coverly is a stud. All right. So I need to have a sit down with Coverly. If you could set that up for me, Loral,
Yep.
because the sheriff in White Pine County threatened to arrest any OSHA officers that came in there. Now, whether he did it or not, they didn't come in there. Okay. The same thing with Elko, the same thing with Eureka. Sheriff Jesse Watts said, any OSHA inspectors in here terrorizing our residents or our business owners are going to be taken into custody. The DA came out and said to him, you can't say that. You can't lawfully do that. It doesn't matter. They put it in there. OSHA then looks at it like, oh shit, man, are we really going to get, cuffed and stuffed if we go to Douglas County? Again, the DA Jackson is absolutely going to say he's not going to go along with this. He has to, but don't worry about it. I will forward you a private communication, Wes, between the DA of Pershing County and the lady that I had doing this, like the Loral of Pershing County that opened Pershing County a week ago or 3 days ago. She got a letter back from DA Bryce Shields. You shouldn't do this. This doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't this. It doesn't this. And it was what he had to say. After it passed, I'll show you the email. He said, fantastic presentation. Great job. This is really awesome. Really needed to happen. The DA has to say something a certain way. Everyone's going to do what they need to do. There's the talking pieces, but you as a commission say public health emergency over. Sheriff's not enforcing it anyway. Joey Gilbert and other attorneys are willing to take OSHA to court. And let me tell you this. This is the last thing you'll love. There's a couple little nuggets in the whole OSHA thing. So the first thing you have to do is request a review, not a review hearing. You recruit your informal conference within 15 days. At the same time that you request your informal conference, they try to throw you for a loop. You have to schedule your review hearing. Now, the review hearings are being set out to September 2021, excuse me. Originally, they're being set out to June. This was back in October, June 2021. Now, some of them are being set February 2022. Why? The last thing these guys want to do is it goes to informal conference, review board hearing of 5 lay people from the community. Okay. Good luck on getting these people to say that Mr. Tarkanian's basketball thing has to pay $1,000 fine. But here's the best thing. It's reviewable in the district court. Tom Gregory is going to know that the governor's orders were unconstitutional. They were unprecedented. They were unreasonable. And what did Tarkanian say? Arbitrary and capricious. You show me now why these draconian measures are required when we know what we know about this disease, when we know what we know about the death rate, when we know what we know about hospital capacity. How can you get away with this? So the most important thing for you to know is that even the review board hearing is appealable to the district court. So unless OSHA wants to end up in front of Gregory or in front of, I forget who the other judge is. He was the public defender. He's my friend, actually. Who's the other district court judge, Mr. Park?
Todd Young.
Todd Young. Todd Young is a beautiful man. Get me in front of Todd Young with OSHA violations based on this data and watch what happens. So we've got to play long ball. You guys can't get scared. You got to flex on them and say, good luck taking this to our district court in Douglas County and convincing Tom Gregory or Todd Young that at the time in April 2021, May 2021, you needed to have face masks on these people when the CDC's own data now says no statistical significance. Let me say that one more time. The CDC's own study for those that wear a mask versus those that don't wear masks is no statistical significance, which in layman terms is doesn't do a damn thing. So I look forward, please give me that opportunity to present this to Todd Young or Tom Gregory, because it'll be a dunking contest like they've never seen. And I don't think the governor's office will go there actually, because they don't want to be in court, Wes. Just
Well,
like they don't
as you
want.
know, when OSHA came in and fined Douglas County for the audacity of allowing the sitting president to come.
Yeah.
They fined us a rather large sum, and we pushed back, and
It got thrown out.
it got thrown out. So
That's how it'll be. So we just
So-
need to.
I haven't lost one yet. I've only lost the ones that people that they went and met in the informal conference and paid ahead of time. And I got the Calneva Casino, Jeff Siri, call him up. They just hired me. And they originally were going to go settle. OSHA gave him a $13,000 fine. And I said, Mr. Siri, don't pay that. Please don't do that. Yeah, Joey, but we have that. I said, it's bullshit, man. Look at what he did. They're trying to enforce something on you up here that they're not even doing in Vegas. And so then he finally, after they did the informal conference, he said, screw it. We're fighting it. Now we're fighting it. And they retained me. And I look forward to going in there. I bet you it disappears before we get to the review board hearing, because at the review board hearing, again, 5 people that have been there over 6 years. They're not Sisolak appointees. They're Sandoval or someone else. They've been there. They're lay people. They're people like you, Wes, that have been around the community for years. That common sense, you're going to sit there and scratch your head and say, okay, well, hold on a second. So you were doing this. There was no one in the store, and this person didn't have a face shield on, and you want me to fine you $13,000? No, we're not doing that. And that's what's been happening. I haven't even got past the informal conference stage. Only one now is going to a review board hearing, and that is the Calneva. And it's because of the Gaming Commission. So Mike Pegram, don't even worry about it. He's not going to change stuff because he's got Tamarack, he's got, Carson Valley Inn. So they're going to do what they got to do. And I've already met with them to make sure I had their support. They're just like, go get them, kid. We're going to do what we need to do, but get the rest of these businesses open. This is ridiculous. These people can't survive. No one can operate on 35% margins. It's hard enough to operate on 100% margins.
So
that's where we're at.
I've been meeting with, personally, I'm a business and financial strategist. I've met with so many of these businesses. Just not only just in Nevada, but around the country. They have to open. They have to open. The stimulus money is helping them stay alive and moderating.
No. The stimulus money is not helping. Did you guys know Nevada was second on if you look at who got the second amount of money?
Yep.
And where did it all go? County commission. It went to the sheriff's office, went to county commission salaries in Washoe County, over $11 million. Did these businesses that have been shut down get 50 grand? Did they get 10 grand? They gave $9,800 total for distance learning. They gave $14,000 to the nursing homes. This did not make it back to the people that needed it. It's not fair. So again, the stimulus money hasn't done jack. And the only way to course correct for these businesses and for these children and for these seniors that have been quarantined is to open up.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the stimulus from the state. I'm talking like the SBAs, which puts them
Yeah.
eventually and over time in further debt back to
Right.
back to the government. So,
Sorry to interrupt you guys really quick. Mr. Gilbert, we have to join the 10:30 call.
Okay.
So I just want to be clear. So I can take this with Tara's, support as an individual, send this to the other commissioners as well. I'm going to send it to the sheriff. And I think, Wes, the next door link is pretty loud out there. So I don't think there's any harm. Like we need to rally as a community, but it's really quick.
And
Let
Wes,
me add real quick,
Yeah.
if possible. Commissioner Joey is set up to handle OSHA even beyond how he's explained it. He has a website and flyers that can be shared with the small businesses on up in the community. So they understand how to interface and what the actions are and relief for them. So it's really well established what he's done. It's in place already.
Yeah,
They just need to know about
OSHA
it.
hates
And
me.
Yes, and then the most important other piece I really want to express is that the Directive 41, this May 1st thing, the deadline is to have you submit before April 15th. That's why the importance of having a commissioners meeting prior to that, where you vote on and pass the end of the public health emergency, which is the appropriate action, whether you're up against a deadline or not. It is the state of the county, and it is within your authority, and you have every data and expert to back you on that. And it is not a silver bullet like any one thing. These are, it's a key unwinding, especially with this moment in time you're in against the May 1/April 15 deadline. And along with these other parts you've talked about, from OSHA to lawsuits to community engagement, this is how you bring about the appropriate action that CISLAC has forced you on a timeline with.
Okay, Laurel, please make sure that I get emailed this documentation that we've been talking about,
I will.
Joey's presentation.
Yeah, and Wes, again, I'll just say this one more time, follow White Pine County. This is what's so beautiful about Nevada, is the Douglas County Republican women that I love. They're always on me. They're the ones clamoring about the businesses. So they're the ones that put me in touch with the DA in White Pine County. The DA is the one that wrote that resolution. It is beautiful. It is spot on. It is so tight. And it's the same thing Lander followed. So you follow that resolution, you put it through there. It was written by a very smart district attorney who then resigned and went to work for Switch, believe it or not. But it is held up everywhere. They haven't even been able to poke a hole in it. Now, whether or not OSHA wants to come in, we'll deal with that. But I would just strongly suggest watch the presentation, watch the video of the doctors I had present. And then if you want me personally to come out and with you, or to just go and meet with anybody in person, that's how important this is to me. I will drive out there. I will sit down there with them and give them the same presentation. I'll bring Tara with me and we'll get it done.
I would suggest that on the day that this gets on the agenda, that you come and do public comment.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I've been doing it everywhere. I've done it every commission so far.
I appreciate
Okay,
that,
and with
Wes.
that, I'm going
Wes,
to bail
can I have-
also.
Yeah, Wes, can I have one more question? What is the most efficient way, kind of guiding me, to get this on the agenda? Obviously, giving Mr. Nick Engels all of this information, as well as the other two commissioners, so everyone's informed.
Yeah,
How can I help get it on the agenda?
Mr. Engels is the one, he's our chair,
Okay.
and he determines what goes on the agenda.
Okay.
Is he going to fight us, Wes? Or is he going to put it
Sorry?
on? Will he fight us or will he put us on?
You know, when it comes to our chair, I can be nice.
Okay. That's all you need to say. That's all you need to say. Just leave it there. This is being recorded.
I
Thank
have
you.
no idea which direction the man will go, okay?
All
But
right.
I
Okay.
believe that he is sympathetic to everything that I've heard today, and I don't believe that he's a fan of our governors by any stretch.
Perfect. And we will do, Steve, who's recording, has been listening, also can do some of a little bit of just tidying up on our edits. Like when we were talking through your phone, we'll just kind of squish that together and make this as tight as we can. And we will get it out right away.
Thank
So
you.
appreciate your time. Thank you. I'd love to meet you in person sometime, Wes. And again, Joey, thank you. Our team, thank you for all being here. And David Park, for sure, for meeting last Friday and jamming with me to get this done in 1 week. Wish it was a month earlier, but we got here.
Thank you, Mr. Park. Appreciate you, man. I know it's not easy.
You're muted, sir.
Can't hear you. Might be on your keyboard. But we see a thumbs up, David. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you very soon. And all of you, thanks for being here and all your support.
Wes, thank you, brother, for being a stud, man. Appreciate you.
My
Thank you,
friend,
guys.
we haven't shared a beer in quite a while.
That's awesome.
Oh, we'll get that.
Very soon.
All right, guys, I'm jumping off too.
Take care. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Yep, thank you, guys.